Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to see this. Nice to meet you. I'm the Sergeant Martinez Caserino Robinson. I'm 33 years old. You can see in this slide my academic and military formation. My branch is engineer. I belong at the Engineers Military School of the Colombian Army. I have experience like platoon commander and leader of non-technical survey procedures in the Humanitarian Demining Brigade. Today, I'm going to show you the first task in this signature. You can see here in this agenda the introduction, the different aims of non-technical survey, and the non-technical survey outputs. After that, we're going to see the organization of the team of non-technical survey and the function and responsibilities of the members of this procedure. After that, we're going to see the documentary management, the requirements, the community link, the planning, and after that, the execution of these procedures. What is the non-technical survey? If you can see in this slide, the non-technical survey refers to the collation and analysis of data without the use of technical interventions. When interventions is because we don't use the technical equipment to develop these activities. We don't use the metal detector, we don't use another equipment. Only that we use is to talk to the communities that have affectation with the community, that the affectation by explosive devices. The idea is to collect all the information about the distribution surrounding the environment of APM, anti-personnel mines, and ERW, explosive remnant of war contamination, in order to define better where the APM or ERW contamination is present and where is not, and to support land release prioritization and decision-making process through the provision of evidence. The non-technical survey allows us to qualify the grade of zone affectation so that coordinate with the CENAM. CENAM is a branch of the engineers that collect all the information and make a big folder, make a big base of data with all the contamination of by explosive devices, excuse me, in all the national territory. To understand this signature, is necessary to see or to know different abbreviation and acronyms like this. You can see in this slide the different acronyms that we will use in the development of this signature. The explosive ordnance, the improvised explosive devices, the hazardous area, confirmed hazardous area, quality control, internal quality control, the humanitarian demining national standard, the explosive ordnance disposal, and different points like elevation mark, start point. We're going to see in this signature or to talk about the technical service, another task that we developed in the area. The INSMA files, the Information Management System for Mine Action, APM, anti-personnel mine, UXO, an exploded ordnance, AOPRE, approved operational procedure, and ERW, explosive remnants of war. Okay, when we have the knowledge of these acronyms and abbreviations, we can develop this signature better. Okay, here you can see what's the difference between the different acronyms that we use. For example, the first one is the suspect hazardous areas, and the hazardous area and confirmed hazardous area. The suspect hazardous areas and the hazardous areas is similar, very similar in the main to refer, the hazardous area refers to an area where there is a reasonable suspicion of mine or ERW contamination on basis of indirect evidence of the presence from that contamination. And the term confirmed hazardous area refers to an area where the presence of mine or ERW contamination has been confirmed on basis of direct evidence of the presence of that contamination in the area. Okay, but maybe you have a question. Maybe you say, well, when we can see indirect evidence or direct evidence. The indirect evidence is when we have suspicions about a contamination, but the leader of the team or the members of the team can see the contamination in the area, can see the wires, can see the elements, can see the mines, but have suspicious because have information for enemy groups, guerrillas, that we have here in Colombia, the presence of that groups, enemy groups. So in that indirect information in the area, that in some area we have the information for contamination by mines. So when during the investigation, the leader of the members of the technical survey team can see the components, can see the elements, can see the mines, but have the information. And confirmed hazardous area is because we have the direct evidence, like for example, when the technical survey team goes at the area and can see the components, can see the wires, can see the mines, can see the remaining explosive remaining of war, can see everything in the area. So in that moment, when the leader or the members of the team can see the components, the elements, we are in front of a confirmed hazardous area. It's important to identify when we are working in a hazardous area or a confirmed hazardous area, because depending the name of the task, we develop the documents that we need to fill in the area. Okay, the second aims of the technical survey. We have 5 aims in this signature. The first one is the baseline. The second one is define the hazardous area and confirm the hazardous area. After that, define the prioritization levels based on the impact. We need to take into account this point. After that, the number 4 is to cancel or redefine the hazardous area or confirm hazardous area from a new investigation. And the last one, it's confirm or cancel the information containing the IMSMA file of the area. The baseline is very important because the technical survey is the first process that the organization of the humanitarian demining make in the different areas that taking into account the information of the communities and the IMSMA files, the community files, the local authority information. So it's very necessary. It's necessary taking into account the activities of humanitarian demining in the areas. And the first step in this process is the technical survey. That's the reason, because it's the baseline, is the start point when begin the process to clear the areas that has contamination by explosive devices. After that, we have only these 5 points, but on basis of these points, we have another subsequent aims that is necessary that the leader or the team that develop the activities in the area to know to continue the investigation in the area. Okay, many of those points is necessary to know because uh, any of that points is necessary to develop before to begin the investigation in the hazardous area or confirmed hazardous area. Another points are necessary to know during the process to investigate. Another points is necessary to know when the process is ending. You can see here the different detailed aims of non-technical survey. It's necessary to identify all of before and during the investigation in the area. The first is to assess whether areas contaminated by mines. To define the suspect hazardous areas where the analysis of indirect evidence is necessary to take into account the indirect evidence of the presence for mines justifies doing so. Okay, it's necessary that the leader define the area if maybe it's a suspect hazardous area or a hazardous area on basis of the information. In this case, remember the C area. The next one is to define the confirmed hazardous areas where the direct evidence of the presence of explosive devices justifies doing so. The for indirect evidence, and after that, another point is justify the confirmed hazardous area because we have a direct evidence. Another point is to cancel all or part of the area of suspect hazardous areas or confirmed hazardous areas where there is not evidence for explosive device contamination. In many areas, we have not all the area that the people think with contamination by mines or explosive devices. In that case, it's very necessary to cancel part or all the area depending the investigation with no technical survey. To identify the socioeconomic and threat factors that may be relevant to decision about the priority setting, is necessary to identify the socioeconomic development of the area. It's necessary to make the investigation in that area depending the many factors that we have to know begin the investigation in the area. Okay, maybe it's necessary to clear this area because the community need that area to develop different socioeconomic activities, or maybe the people need to clear this area because needs to facility or is more easy to access another place in that area with contamination by mines. So it's necessary to identify the different factors that the people need, the community need, in reason to clear that area. And after that, to record accurately and comprehensively direct evidence of the presence of explosive devices. Another point, to collect as accurately and reliably as possible available information about the characteristics and distribution of contamination that may assist in the effective and efficient planning and follow-up as targeted technical survey and clearance. It's important to collect all the information about the distribution, the contamination in the area, what's the kind of the contamination in the area. Maybe are improvised explosive devices, maybe are remaining explosive of war, maybe are anti-personnel mines, the different kind of explosive devices that we can find and the distribution in the area. And after that, make an effective and efficient planning and follow on to make the investigation without accidents, um, or without moments that can change the activities of the procedures of this task, not technical survey. Another one is to collect as accurately and reliably as possible the information about the accidents and incidents to people and animals. So it's necessary to identify what's the difference between accidents or incidents. In this task, in the development of these activities of humanitarian demining, we said that the accidents and incidents are different. The incidents are when any animal activate one explosive device. And one accident is when one person active. So that's the big difference. That's the main difference between incidents and accidents. Accidents is because the one person active the explosive device, and incidents is because one animal active the explosive device. It's not important the kind of the explosive device that active. So it's necessary to understand that when one person active for many system, one explosive device is an accident. But if the victim is an animal, is an incident. Okay. To collect information about physical change to the environment, such as disposition of soil by flooding and wind, erosion, landslines that may have that modify the local situation after the contamination was laid out deployed. For example, when the people report the presence of explosive devices in the area, but when the non-technical service team goes to investigate that information, the environmental change because maybe the winter so it was so hard and maybe the area served have land at the time the erosion make the change in the area, or maybe one natural effect was in the area. So in that moment, the environment of that has the report change. Maybe the explosive device changed the position, or maybe the explosive device are activated during the landslide, for example. So it's necessary to take into account all of that information before to begin the investigation in the area. And the last one, it's collect all the information about the physical circumstances at the site. It's necessary to know the site when we're going to develop this activity or this task of non-technical survey. Like, for example, the access routes, the vegetation, the soil, the topography, the infrastructure, the agriculture, the local security situation is very important taking into account this point, because in this country we have the violence problem, and devices in the area are installed for enemy groups like guerrillas. So it's common that in that area the presence of that groups to protect that minefield. So before to begin the activities of non-technical service, it's necessary to take into account the security in the area because we have not guns or weapons to defend us. So in case of the presence of enemy groups, we can't develop these activities in the area. Okay, it's important to take into account this point. Now, the infrastructure is necessary because we need to know if the contamination, the hazardous area or the confirmed hazardous area is near for the at the school, is near for the church, is near for the community center or any infrastructure. So it's of the community that have the affectation by mines. The topography, what's the access roads? Maybe we need to walk for many time to go to that area, or maybe we have no access by vehicle. It's necessary to make the access by aircraft, or maybe we need to have the support of one animal like a horse to arrive to that area. So it's necessary to take into account the access roads, the vegetation, because maybe the weather has in the environment we have no vegetation because it's a dry area, or we have an area where rain every day and the vegetation is very dense, or is difficult the access to investigate the areas or the areas with contamination. So it's very important to take into account this point. It's the last point, but it's not the less important. It's the most important point. We have when the leader collects all the information, the organization collects all the information, make an idea, make a planning to the subsequent investigation in the area. We need to use different clothes. We need to use another specific material. We need to find a place where to live during the investigation. All of that information is important. And after that, it's important to take the contact of the local authorities. It's necessary to take contact with the local authorities before to go to begin the investigation in the area. It's necessary to the help of the local authorities to make a good activity in the area. And we have here the purpose of non-technical survey. The overall purpose of non-technical survey is to use all the appropriate non-technical means, including visits to the field locations, visit all the farms, to visit, to talk with all the community, local authorities, all the community in the area, identify, collect, analyze, and report all the evidence. Every day, the leader and the other members of the team is necessary to make a report when describes all the activities, okay? And it's important to take into account that four points that you can see. The first one, make recommendation about the definition of suspect hazardous areas or confirmed hazardous areas. When the leader goes at the area and collect all the information and decide that this is a suspect or confirmed hazardous area, the leader make different recommendations to the organization. Is necessary to a subsequent intervention with technical survey? Is not necessary. We have not contamination or fact in fake information. All of that information is necessary to take. After that, another point that later is necessary to take into account, make recommendations about the cancellation on or subsequent reduction of clearance areas. Maybe the people think that a big area has a contamination by mines, but when the leader, when the technical survey goes at the area and visit the area, is not all the area with contamination by mines or explosive devices. In that moment, it's necessary to make a recommendation to the organization for a subsequent cancellation or reduction of the area, depending on the information that the leader collects in the area. Support the priority setting process. It's important to support all the prioritization levels in the area. The leader needs to take into account all the information. Why is the reason? Because the people need the investigation with or intervention with a technical survey. Because need to develop productive projects in the future. Because maybe the hazardous area, the confirmed hazardous area, is in a road in the area. Maybe the contamination is near for any place in the school or one house, one farm. So it's necessary to make the priority, the prioritization levels during the process. And after that, with all the information, with the recommendations to cancel the area, to define the confirmed hazardous area, suspect area, and the priority levels, make an efficient and effective planning before and during the intervention. Okay, and all of that information, send the with all the information, send that documents, send that information to the organization for a subsequent investigation with technical survey or cancel all the investigation and define that of that area has. Okay, so this is the second topics of this signature of not technical survey. Okay, thanks a lot.